Welcome. Namaste. Today's practice will be using the wall. So make sure your mat, or if you don't have a mat and just want to use the floor, or you're on a carpet, that's fine too. Just make sure that you have a little bit of wall space available so that you can use that wall for some stability in some of the poses today. So we're going to start in easy sit pose in Sukhasana to do a little bit of breath work, to come back to your practice of yoga and come back to your breath, your main focus. So if you want, you can sit as I am away from the wall, or if you want, you can take your back against the wall. And again, I'm sitting on a blanket, so if you want a blanket or if you want to sit on blocks or bolster, make sure that you get comfortable in your own pose. So everybody come to your seat and maybe close your eyes here. If you want to just turn your gaze towards the ground. Just gently let your gaze drift towards the ground in front. And inhale and exhale, focusing only on your breath. Going to move into 3-part breathing today. So that nice diaphragmatic breath, evening out your breath. So just come back to witnessing your breath here. Allowing your breath to wash over the tension, the stress, any emotions you're feeling right now. And inhale deeply up through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. And then on your next few inhalations, try to inhale up through your nose, up to your low belly, and then up through to your diaphragm, that midsection, and then all the way up to the top of your lungs. And pause at the top, and then exhale back down in that 3 parts, top of your lungs, diaphragm, and low lungs. When you come to yoga, you're not only gifting yourself the time to actively move and stretch, but you're giving yourself the opportunity to turn your focus inward, becoming centered and grounded in who you are, meditating on your strengths and values, intuitively learning to trust in yourself, your resilience with life. Continuing with this 3-part breath. You can even put one hand on your belly and one on your heart here if you choose, or just let your hands be relaxed in your lap. Smoothing out your breath, evening out those inhalations and exhalations. We often lose ourselves in this fast-paced and commerce-driven world, and these last few weeks have allowed us time to pause, to get back to what matters most: our family, our friendships, good food, health. Life is always changing, so relying on trust or trust in others will only get you so far. So dig deeper in practice today and meditate on the foundation of trust that's inside of you. And let it take hold. Tell yourself, maybe make this a mantra for class today: I trust in life because I trust in myself. I trust in life because I trust in myself. On your next inhalation and full exhalation, if your eyes are closed, just gently let them flutter open. And I'm going to move myself to the wall because that's where we're going to start movement today, our asana practice today. So coming to the wall in Sukhasana, you can start on either left or right side, it doesn't matter, but bring your one side to the wall so that your knee is touching the wall. And wiggle around until you feel nice and tall and sturdy in that spine, nice tall spine, and root down in those sits bones, lengthening up through your spine. On your inhale, twist over and open to the wall and place your hands at shoulder level and even shoulder distance. Put a nice foot in between your hands and twist open and use that wall for some stability, for a base today. And inhale and exhale into your twist. Maybe on your inhalation and then exhalation, you even twist a little bit farther. Spread your fingers on the wall. Really feel how that wall is on your hands and how your hands are using that wall today. And then inhale and come back to center and reach the arm up that's against the wall and place the palm of your hand up on the wall. Whichever hand that is, left or right. Spread those fingers wide and really press into that wall. And let's get a nice stretch in that shoulder area across your chest and across your back. You're going to pretend that your arm, your hand is part of a clock. So right now we're at 12 o'clock. And just really get a nice stretch here. And then wiggle or slide those hands to 11 o'clock. So a little bit in front of you. Maybe inhale and exhale and press those fingers into the wall. Really engage your arm here. Don't let it be inactive. Really start to energize it. And then wiggle those fingers back up to 12 o'clock and then back behind you to 1 o'clock. And this might be a more intense stretch, so take it wherever you need it to be for you today. Breathing in and out, pushing down through your sits bones, trying to keep your waist nice and even with your arm behind you. And slide that arm back up to 12 and then back down the wall and give that shoulder a little shrug, a little shake. And then take your feet, the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana and just let your knees open up to the sides. You can hold on to your ankles here, and again, inhale and lengthen up through your spine, and exhale and just bend over those feet just for a couple breaths here. Maybe you use your elbows to push down on your knees, on your thighs, getting a nice groin stretch. And then inhale back up to center and turn towards the other side. So whichever side you weren't at, left or right, take that easy sit pose, place that knee against the wall. And again, wiggle around till you feel nice and comfortable and seated tall and straight in the spine. As you inhale and exhale, twist over to the wall. Place your hands shoulder height, shoulder distance. And just twist over to the other side. Inhaling and exhaling into your twist, feeling a nice stretch in your side rib cage and in your shoulders as well. Breathe, don't forget your breath. Then inhale, come back to center, and again, take that arm all the way up on the wall. Place that palm flat. Spread those fingers, pressing into the wall. Really engage your hand here. Let's not make this passive. Let's make it active here. And then wiggle those fingers or slide that hand to 11 o'clock. Feel a nice stretch. Maybe even you push your fingertips up a little bit farther, but don't come out of your seat, but really push it up towards the ceiling. Feeling a nice stretch. And then slide your hand back to 12 and now back towards 1 o'clock. If you want to go farther, you can. It's your own practice, your own body. You listen to your body. Be very mindful in your movements here. Taking it only as far as comfortable for you. And then slide that hand back to 12 and then back down the wall and shrug your shoulders here again. Wonderful. Okay, now we're going to bring our legs out in front of us. So a nice Dandasana or staff pose here. So wiggle around, get your cheeks out of the way, right? Sitting up nice and tall. on your sits bones, and your toes flexed and pointed up towards the ceiling, but not flexed so much that your heels are off the mat. So make sure your heels are laying nice and flat. And then inhale and lengthen up through your spine. And as you exhale, just float your torso over your thigh, your legs, keeping that spine nice and long. Push down through your hips, down through those sits bones. Nice and even here. If you want to take peace fingers and grab a hold of those your big toes, go ahead and do that. As you inhale and exhale, maybe you can use the tension in your fingers as you use your toes and pull your torso down towards your thighs. And just hold here and breathe for a few breaths. Inhale and exhale fully. Your belly goes up into your low, right below your rib cage, your low rib cage. So you can really use your core here as well, lifting it up, back and up towards your low rib cage. All right, now come up to seated and just shake those legs, loosen them up maybe, let them rock back and forth. We're going to come to tabletop and then right to down dog. So we're going to use the wall, so your feet should be facing the wall. So come to tabletop, maybe walk your hands out a few inches in front of you, and then curl those toes under, push your heels towards the ground, lift your hips up, and just let those heels come to the wall behind you. Let your head hang heavy between your arms, shaking yes and no. Your heels can't reach the ground. Let those heels lay on the wall. Use that wall today for some stability. Trust that the wall is there to help hold you up. Feel the difference in down dog using the wall behind you. So wherever your down dog is, maybe you pedal your feet, shake your head yes and no. Really open up your shoulders here. If you twist your armpits, as I call them, right? That inner, actually not your armpit, but that pit of your arm that's by your elbow pit, right? If you twist that elbow pit up towards the ceiling, you'll really get an opening across your back, across your chest, really digging in deep here, pressing back through your heels, a nice length in your legs, circling your thighs, your muscles in towards the midline. Not forgetting to breathe here. And now take your feet and just walk them about a foot in towards your arms, and then slowly start to walk your hands back towards your feet in forward fold. Nice release in your low back. Bend your knees. Maybe grab a hold of opposite arms and just sort of sway back and forth. Let the crown of your head start to track and move towards the earth. So you're really swinging and swaying in this wonderful forward fold, getting your head below your heart. Wonderful for digestion and circulation. Wonderful for stress release. A great release for your low back here. And breathe. And then drop your hands to your mat and inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, crown towards the ground. Bending your knees, inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to the ceiling and upward salute. And then exhale, forward fold once again. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to come to chair pose. So inhale, back down to the ground and forward fold. We're going to use the wall for chair. So from here, bend your knees, and if your booty doesn't touch the wall, walk those feet back just a couple inches so your booty can touch that wall behind you before we sweep our arms up in chair pose. So from here, my booty's touching. All right, inhale and sweep those arms and your torso up towards the sky, and you can feel that wall supporting you behind you. If you don't want to use the wall, you don't have to. You can lean forward. If you do that, just look down, make sure your knees aren't floating past your toes. You want to push your hips back and down like you're sitting in a chair. But if you want, really use that wall today. That will help you feel a nice long length from your root chakra all the way up out through the crown of your head. Arms up overhead, or maybe in cactus arms, or you can pretzel your arms if they're a little bit cranky today, you decide. Breathe here. Maybe even lift your toes and lay them back down. Roll your thighs in towards the midline. And then inhale, lengthen, and exhale. Left hand comes to right knee and twist open to the right. Really shine that heart up towards the ceiling. Trust the process. Trust your yoga practice here. Trust in yourself. Inhale, back up to center, and then exhale, right hand to left knee, opening up your chest to the left-hand side. Inhale and exhale. And sweep that arm back up overhead. Push off the wall and inhale, back down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep those arms up overhead and then back down through Anjali Mudra. Wonderful. All right, coming to Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. Let's start with our right. So your right heel against the wall behind you, left foot bent at that nice angle in front. Make sure your hips are facing the front of your mat and sweep your arms up overhead, or cactus your arms, pretzel, you choose. But in this pose, remember that if your balance feels off, maybe you need to widen your stance here. Make sure that that left knee is over the left ankle and you're really pressing down behind you in that right heel, rolling your thighs in towards the midline. Really feeling a nice length here. Then inhale and exhale your torso over that left knee. Really feeling a dynamic stretch, a nice long arrow like you're shooting out from your heel all the way up your spine, out through your fingertips. Maybe even wiggle your fingers here. Wonderful. Then inhale, come back up straight. And then inhale and exhale, float those arms behind you like little wings, like you're flying. Inhale, back up. Exhale, float those wings and your torso over that left knee. Inhale, back up. Take a few of these at your own breath, your own pace. Inhaling, exhaling, back and forth, very mindfully moving, pressing back in your heel. Your next inhale, come up to stillness, and then bring your hands down through heart center and step that right foot in to meet your left. Forward fold, down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, float those arms up overhead and then down through heart center. We're going to take that on the other side. So step that left heel back towards the wall. And I have to adjust a little bit myself. Make sure your stance is wide enough. If you're feeling unbalanced, widen that stance. Again, you can float your arms up overhead. Position your arms wherever you like. Nice bend in that right knee over right ankle. You can look down and check here. Tuck that tailbone under so you get a nice length in your spine, out through your crown chakra, the top of your head. Inhaling and exhaling. On your next inhale, float that torso over your right knee, that nice long line, that nice length here. Breathing in deeply, feeling, pushing back through that left heel, pushing up through the right. Really dynamically using the earth to support you, using the wall for stability, trusting in your breath, trusting in your movements, in your body. And inhale back up to Warrior One. On your next inhale, start to float that torso and your arms behind you in that nice mindful movement here. Inhaling and exhaling up and then back, little wings, maybe shine those fingers, little jazz fingers behind you, right? Feeling very happy today. Inhaling and exhaling. And then come up to stillness, and I'm going to add a little twist here. So take your right hand your left hand to your right knee, and twist open like we did when we were in chair pose over to the right. Feel a nice stretch in your side body here. Then reach those arms back up overhead and bring your hands down through heart center. Step left foot to meet right. Forward fold to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep those arms up overhead and then back down. We're going to turn to the wall now and move into Warrior 3 or Virabhadrasana 3. So you're going to be a few feet away from the wall, and you can readjust as we move. But again, position your feet so they're about hip distance apart, and bring your hands to the wall and start to walk your hands down, and maybe you even have to walk your feet back a little bit. It depends on your body. Until your torso is parallel with the ground. Make sure you have a tiny bend in the knees. You don't want to flex your knees behind you. You want to have a nice little bend there. Your gaze will come down to the ground in front. Really spread those fingers on the wall. Press down in the ground. Press your hips back, but use the wall. Feel a nice length from the base of your spine out through your hands, through the crown of your head. And then feel your heels pressing down in the earth. Really pay attention to how you feel in this pose. Use your core to press up towards your spine and your spine down towards your belly. Nice long length here. Gaze to the ground, breathing. And then start to just move over towards that left leg. Like when we go in tree pose and we start to ground down a little bit more in the left leg, take those right toes and just kickstand them behind you first. You might have to move your hands on the wall just a tiny bit to readjust. And then start to lift that right foot behind you so that now your right leg is parallel to the ground. Your toes are pointing towards the ground. Your leg is floating above the ground. Remember that tiny bend in the left knee. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling the length here. Try to keep your hip level right now. Now we are going to move our hip to get a nice little rotation in it. So on your next inhale, start to rotate your hip, your right hip, up towards the ceiling. And your toes, your right toes will float to the side, to the right side wall. So now your hip is open to the right. And then exhale those toes back down to the ground. And move through a few of these, inhaling and exhaling, opening up your hip. Remember a tiny bend in the standing leg. Use the wall for stability as you need it. Opening up that hip, using your glutes here, using your core, using gluteus, your big glute muscle, and gluteus medius, the side muscle on your leg to keep you standing. And then come to stillness. And if you would like, you can stay here for a breath, or you can try to bring your hands to heart center or alongside you. Use a nice drishti in front of you to focus and come to Warrior 3, airplane pose, and then step that right foot down to meet your left. Forward fold, head crown to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, upward salute, and then down through heart center. We're going to come to the opposite side. So again, feeling nice and grounded in our feet, shoulder distance apart, come to the wall. Again, bend in those knees, wiggle those toes, spread those fingers on the wall. Make sure that your torso is parallel to the ground. Really use the wall here. Really feel energized from the feet up to your spine and your spine out towards the wall, towards the crown of your head. And then when you're ready, slowly walk those left toes behind you, readjusting as you go. And when you're ready, inhale and lift your left toes, up towards reach your left leg up towards the ceiling, right? So now your left leg is parallel with the ground, toes pointed towards the ground. Really a nice energetic stretch here from your heel all the way out to your fingertips, which are on the wall. And breathe. And we're going to twist open. You do that hip twist, right? So remember that tiny bend in your standing leg. Don't let your right hip pop out to the side. Make sure it's nice and firm as you inhale and twist open now to the left. Toes are now pointed to the left. And then exhale, float that hip back down, toes pointed to the ground. Inhale, open that hip, and exhale back down. Trust the process here. Trust how active you are. Trust how strong you are. Trust in the goddess in you. Inhaling and exhaling. And if you have to come out and just go back in when you're ready. And now come to stillness with your toes pointed towards the ground. Bend in your knee. And again, if you want, you can stay right here or bring your hands to heart center. And then float your arms alongside you, toes pointed down into that flying warrior 3. And when you're ready, you can always use the wall in front. Step that left foot back to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend those knees. Inhale, reach all the way up to the ceiling. And then back down to Anjali Mudra. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out the mouth. One more time. Deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Wonderful. Turning back. So our back now is against the wall. Coming back to tabletop and then through down dog. So press those heels towards the ground, heels against the wall. Let your head just hang heavy for just a couple breaths between your arms. Shake yes or no. Pedal your feet. Maybe get a nice stretch in your low back here. And then start to walk your hands out in front for plank pose. So in plank pose, you can have your soles of your feet on the wall, or you can just have your toes on the ground and just your heels on the wall. So whatever is comfortable for you. But in plank, gaze right in front of you. Try to have your belly moving up towards your spine up towards your belly, that nice length from your heels out through the crown of your head. And breathe here. Inhaling and exhaling. Rotate those shoulder blades out, really opening up your shoulders across your back, pressing into the wall. Fingers spread wide, engaged in the mat. And now, bring your left knee down to the ground. You can pivot that left foot so that your toes are now out towards the left side. You're going to take your left hand, kind of plant it right in front of your face, and twist open to modified side plank, Vashisthasana. So now the pinky side of your foot, your right foot, is against the wall, and your right arm is floating up overhead. Nice stretch. You can even bring your arm out overhead for a longer line, a longer stretch along that right side. And now, using your core, maybe you want to flatten that back left foot on the ground. You're going to use your core and your side muscles to come up to gate pose. So now your right hand is on your right thigh, and you're stretching that left arm up overhead. And then inhale, left hand back down to the mat, right hand up overhead. Use your core, use those side muscles to move into this mindful movement. Modified plank, Vashisthasana, to Parigasana, gate pose. Inhaling and exhaling. Don't forget your breath here. And on your next one, come to stillness, back to that modified gate or modified plank. And if you'd like to try, you can step that right foot just a little bit to the back and slide your left sole of your foot onto the wall, and then stack your right foot on top of your left into full Vashisthasana, right? Your hip, feel like there's a string pulling that hip up towards the ceiling. From here, if you want to try to thread that right hand in between or under that left armpit, you can go ahead and use your core here. A few mindful movements, a few core exercises, or you can just keep your hand up overhead. Then bring your hand back down to the mat, coming back to plank pose. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to move to the other side. So this time, right knee comes down. You can swivel that right foot out towards the back. And your left pinky side of your, or big toe side of your foot will come and lie on the ground as you sweep that left arm up overhead into modified plank. Your right hand should be right about underneath your head, right about under your ear. So from fingertip to fingertip, it's a nice long line. Really push into the wall with your left foot. Feel the engagement there and trust in yourself as you use your core to float up to gate pose. Left hand down to left thigh, right hand overhead. Inhale and exhale back down to modified plank. Inhale back up to Parigasana, gate pose, and inhale and exhale at your own pace, using your own breath. Very mindful movement here. On your next inhale, maybe you want to try to come into full-blown plank or Vashisthasana. So just take the left foot and sort of move it back behind you as you slide that right foot to the wall, pinky side on the wall, left foot on top of right. Sweep your left arm up overhead and breathe again, feeling that your hip raise up towards the ceiling. Again, you can do a few of those thread the needles if you choose, or just hold yourself here and breathe. Feel your strength, trust yourself, and then bring your hands back down to plank. We're going to come to our knees and then Balasana or child's pose. So big toes touch, knees out to the side of your mat. Bring those arms out in front of you and let your forehead just relax on the mat, letting your breath come back. Find your breath if you lost it. Belly nice and gentle, just sort of like it's being hugged in between your thighs here. Just let it relax. Let your low back relax. If you want to stack your hands or your arms and lay your forehead on your hands or your arms, you can. Again, you can always use a block. And now come back up to tabletop position. We're going to turn towards the wall. We're actually going to bring our legs up the wall here. So you may have to, my mat's moving, you may have to come over to the side. It depends on your comfort to getting those legs up the wall. Some people are super easy and they can just fling them up there. But if you need to, bring one of your hips, it doesn't matter, left or right over to the wall and take your hands behind you and start to lower your back on the ground as you swing the leg that's against the wall up onto the wall, right? And then as you do that, you can start to move your hips against the wall, your bum against the wall, and use your shoulders and your elbows to kind of wiggle, and your hips to wiggle yourself so you're nice and snuggle up against that wall with your feet, your soles of your feet pointed up towards the ceiling. Maybe flex your toes here, maybe point and flex here, maybe some ankle circles as well as you get comfortable in this pose. And now take your right ankle and bend it and take that right ankle right on top, right on top of that left knee. So you don't want it on the kneecap, but right above it. So on your thigh, this nice figure four. Take your right hand and place it on that right knee, pushing it towards the wall as much as you're comfortable doing. If you want to bend that left foot and bring that left foot on your left knee and take that left foot on the wall, you can. It's a little bit more intense in your hips here. So whatever you're most comfortable with. If you're fine with the back of your leg against the wall straight, you can just leave it there or bend it. Just breathe into your hip. Let your breath circulate here. With each breath, let that muscle in your right hip just start to surrender. And breathe. Inhale and exhale. And then straighten that leg if it's not already straight. Straighten your right leg. So straighten both legs, right? So the backs of your legs are on the wall. And now we're going to switch. So right ankle is crossed and right above that right knee. So it's laying on your thigh. You can use your hand to kind of push your knee towards the wall if you want, or you can bend your right foot, your right knee. I always say that. Your right knee and plant the sole of your right foot on the wall, and just really get a nice stretch, a nice release in your hips here, pressing down in your sits bones, trying not to let your hips roll or your sits bones, right, roll up too much. You don't want to be laying on your low back. You want to push those hips down towards the mat. That way you'll get more intense stretch, a better stretch for your hips, really a nice hip opener here. We hold a lot of tension in our hips, so this is a great release. And now bring the soles of your feet to the wall, so your knees are in towards your chest, and just windshield wiper your knees back and forth, back and forth. Your hands can lay relaxed at your side. And just like we did Baddha Konasana before on the floor, right? Before on the floor, we're going to do it on the wall. So soles of feet together, knees out to either side, left or right, and just feel a nice stretch here. Maybe the soles of your feet are way up here. Maybe they're here. Maybe they're even apart a little bit. Perfectly okay. Whatever's comfortable for you. And just get a nice stretch here. And breathe. Feel your breath. Bring your breath back to that natural breath, that evenness in your breath. And now take those legs up on the wall, maybe give them a little shake. We're going to come to Shavasana. You can either stay in legs up the wall, Viparita Karani, or you can lay flat on your mat if you want to. I'll give you a couple seconds to just get comfortable. But this is a great pose, legs up the wall, for anytime you want to go into a meditative, restorative pose. It's very relaxing. It's very neutralizing, just to come here and be in stillness. So this is a great place to come before bedtime, or if you're feeling particularly anxious. So whichever pose you decide, whether you're laying flat on the mat in Shavasana or legs up the wall, just come back to your breath and close your eyes and let your arms hang heavy at their sides, or if you want, one hand on your belly, one on your chest, whatever is comfortable for you right now. At the end of practice, come back to your breath and breathe, inhaling, exhaling. Couple additional wonderful benefits of legs up the wall is it's super great for if you're having menstrual cramps, if you have arthritis, if you are feeling like a migraine or a headache is coming on, it's also great for that as well. So being very conscious here in your breath. Letting that feeling of trust in yourself that you let yourself have in practice today kind of wash over you. You use the stability of the wall. You trusted in your movements. You trusted that your breath would guide you through your poses today. Trust that you can take your yogi breath out in the world. You can use 3-part pranayama, samavriti breathing, ujjayi breath, nadi shodhana breath. You can use any form of breath work to bring your mind back to self-awareness, to consciousness. So perhaps take the time during your day today to pause and come back to the mantra from the beginning of class. I trust in life because I trust in myself. Being still, practicing, meditating really allows you a chance to clear space and rise up to all the occasions that are being presented in our life that maybe we have not had before. And my wish is that you take this feeling of trust and hope in yourself and just feel the power that you have as a yogi goddess and take that out into the world today, the days to come, the hours to come, the minutes to come. And you can stay here if you want in legs up the wall or shavasana. If you need a few more breaths here, a few more relaxation, a little more relaxation in this pose. But if not, slowly start to bring your legs down off the wall and just let your legs fall gently to one side or the other. Same if you're on your back in shavasana. Bring your knees into your chest. Bring those knees over to one side or the other and use your hands to gently sit up in easy sit pose, Sukhasana. Trying to keep your eyes closed here. Last few minutes. Take these last few minutes of meditation, these last few minutes in your practice to just center on yourself. Bring your hands into your chest, thumb knuckles resting on your heart center. Couple more breaths. Maybe say to yourself one more time, I trust in life because I trust in myself. Bring your thumb knuckles up to your forehead. I bow to each of you. Namaste.